I would argue that there are two fundamentally big challenges in all of those countries, and they're very familiar challenges for all of us. The first is the political challenge of how do you build what I've described in some of the things I've written, deep democracy. That means thinking beyond the idea of an election as being that great crowning moment when you put a real election to work and elect a government, to building the sort of institutions and the framework you need to make sure that democracy has roots that are long and deep, and that you don't just elect a government once, but most importantly of all, you have the right to kick them out and elect somebody else. And that means thinking through how do we build with them independent judiciary? How do we build a kind of society and civil society that's able to respond to the needs of people and hold the government to account? And a particular area that I worry about a lot, which is how do you build the role of opposition? Because in so many countries across the world, winner takes all in elections. And we don't have the framework that allows the opposition to hold the government to account and to be, if you like, the government in waiting. And that's going to be one of the challenges that we have to tackle and face. If you talk to Egypt, they talk to me sometimes about how they'd like a retired president to be walking around. Because as they would say, in 7,000 years, nobody's ever retired.
Yeah, I'm not going to.
And you know how important it is to see that governments do come and go, and that political people have a shelf life after which they have to retire and go back, in a sense, into another form of life. And that's something that for some countries they've not experienced for a very long time, if ever, but something that they think about a great deal. Equally too, finding ways in which we develop for particular groups in society this capacity to be able to engage. When you look at the southern Mediterranean, North Africa, you're always particularly struck by two groups. The first of them are the young people. And the role of young people has been well documented already, but never to be underestimated, in terms of what they did and what they continue to do to make the demands for their own political future and the demands for their freedom and their human rights, to end corruption and to see a way forward, and the building of political parties. And also for women in that part of the world, who are particularly concerned to make sure they can take their place in that political process.